The 23rd of September 2024 is always going to be an interesting day to look back on. This was the day a lot of Class of 09 fans turned on the creator of the game and basically ran him off the internet. And if you were like me and had only heard of the game in passing, this seemed very out of nowhere. Before, I heard nothing but praise for the series, which is no small feat, especially considering the genre these games fell into. A visual novel that flips everything on its head by having the player be the girl a bunch of dudes are trying to win the favor of, while also pointing out how a vocal crowd of people who play these games, I'm talking about incels and misogynists by the way, would behave around girls who aren't brainless lines of code. The creator of the game went on record saying he wanted to make a game that showed how being nice always ends badly for women. Since I'm a huge sociology nerd and a major feminist who's 6'3" and has a six-pack, I thought this was a really cool concept. Not cool enough to make me want to play a visual novel though, so I put off playing the game for, Jesus, 2 years now. But the games are on sale and the whole cannibalization of this game's fan base had intrigued me ever since it happened. So I bought all of the games, played them, turned it into a drinking game, regretted it, sobered up, and now I'm here to tell you that this game hasn't improved my life in any way. It did teach me a really good story though. A tale of how a game developer who gained a loving and dedicated audience with a false facade, no not you, and how the same loving audience grew to hate him once that fragile mask broke and revealed his true nature. Yandere Death, SBN 3, and his hit game, Class of 09. While the initial boom of Class of 09 happened in 2023 according to Google Trends, why is there an even bigger spike in 2024? The game was released a whole 3 years ago on itch.io. Well, the demo at least. The site kinda works like Steam, main difference being itch.io has no quality control on what games are allowed to be sold on the website, so not that different from Steam. Since a lot of people were just staying at home for whatever reason, more people were playing games to kill time, and a byproduct of that is this demo doing really well. It was even in the top 5 games in the visual novel genre, acting as a proof of concept to SBN3 that he could probably sell it on Steam and make some money, which is totally fair. Fast forward 8 months and then the full game was released to very positive reviews for being a subversive masterpiece only matched by Get Out from 2017, or something. But to be honest, I didn't like it very much. I mean, there are some bits I really like. You know, the UI, for example. It's terrible, but clearly on purpose, immediately poking fun at the average visual novel UI, replacing the cutesy, bubbly style you'd find in so many of these games, with A4 paper and fucking pills as the rewind button. A phone that was maybe popular during 2009, I wouldn't know, I was 4, is the pause button and the main way we make choices to get into new routes.
Wake up, filthy.
Off that alone, the vibe of this game is very clearly laid out. And then there's the intro that doubles down on the idea, originally feeling a bit average before everything goes to shit.
My piece of shit gamer brother got us evicted for pirating breakbeat mixtapes. It's like not even good music. Anyway, so mom was crying, packing up the moving boxes, and that's when she told me we're moving out of state, and I just got settled. I said, fuck you, I'm living with dad. He's just a neighborhood down. I put the boxes down, go over, knock on the door, and boom! A gunshot! My second Christmas killed himself. I walked in. Floor looked like a whole-ass video game, just blood everywhere. And get this, his suicide note was stuck to the fridge with a Cookie Monster magnet. All he wrote on it, Nicole's fault. I'm Nicole, by the way, hi. What the fuck did I do to him?
This was a great way to start a game, and it's peaked. I'm not kidding. This was probably the most enjoyment I got out of Class of 09's first game, outside of a rare joke that was kind of funny. The rest of my time playing it was me being bored out of my mind or just frustrated with the choices made by SBN3. As the intro alluded to, you play as Nicole, who is a self-described sociopath.
Make no mistake, I'm a sociopath.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in.
This would probably make you think that she is the absolute worst. But this was also kind of another moment of good writing, because this is the exact type of stuff a cringy teen would say. Someone who will tag along with you for most of the game's many endings is Jekka, who is basically a dumb blonde and will not become a major point of contention in future games. The main goal is to survive your high school years without undergoing a traumatic experience. The main people who are getting in the way of this totally reasonable goal is every dude in school. I'm not even exaggerating. Everyone with a speaking role is walking the fine line between dumbass teen and, terrorist. Take one of the first endings I got, for example. After getting in trouble during photography class, Nicole is pulled aside by that teacher and is explained the inner workings of white pride. If that felt like a massive leap from 0 to 100, imagine being the one who watched that unfold in real time. From that point, you can either play along and then get arrested for doing a terrorism, or tell him he's insane and then watch all of her classmates do racism.
Hey, you wanna calm down and just listen to rap music or something?
Everyone in their fucking rap music now? Whatever happened to classic rock? Or country, you know, like real music?
Classic rock's classic for a reason. It sucks now.
Oh yeah, you probably don't even know where to find it.
Where do you find it? Off graphic tees at failing anchor stores?
No. Yes, fuck you. I want rap music off the radio so wigger kids like you could suffer.
Oh my god. I'd like to tell you that the game calmed down after this point, but no. Nearly every ending is like this. I was gonna list out all of the endings by accurate names, but I think YouTube would tie me up in the room from Sonic Adventure 2 and execute me. So here are baby-fied names. The chlorine
Party Pooper,
ending. The school
Campfire,
ending.
Gay Men,
Ending. And, you know, the rehab ending. But probably the very worst ending I could have gotten was the YouTube famous ending. Boo! We hate YouTubers. That's super unrealistic. On the topic of realism, I want to talk about how this game misses the mark on being believable. Oh, but Ty, the game is not supposed to be realistic. Comedy elements aside, just the overall attempted aesthetic of this visual novel feels rare, as so few games are made to acutely depict a culture by people who actually lived it. Moving that strawman aside, the game was at the very least trying to realistically depict the life of the average high schooler. SBN3 wanted to give a voice to those kids who didn't care about assignments or clubs. Before I get into all of that, I want to say that I know school can be terrible. I hated it. Especially secondary school. Oh my god, that was just the worst. This game kinda takes the piss though. There isn't a single character in this game who isn't the worst version of that stereotype. Like, every guy is a misogynist, incel, or both. And the one female teacher that I remember having dialogue was aware of the evil people teaching and turned a blind eye to it. Part of me does kind of get it on a kind of metaphorical level. School can feel like this. Guys constantly hitting on you, the teachers being really weird, and the higher-ups doing nothing about it. It's just a really exaggerated version of those feelings. But I lose all ability to take this seriously because there isn't even an attempt at balance. The loop of playing this game was getting the message and then not being able to take it seriously because it's a hyper-extreme version of the scenario. The sexist jock, the sexist shallow guy, the sexist anime guy, the pedophile teacher, the pedophile teacher, the pedophile teacher. Oh, and he's not a pedophile, just a white supremacist. I can see my ad revenue just like flying away right now. Jesus Christ. How can I relate to this when it's such an unrealistic situation? Racism is bad. The point is sullied when you have Nicole report her school to a terrorist group and watch everything hit the fan. Because it's such a comical situation. The game is confused on whether it wants to take itself seriously or take the piss, and the best example of this is Jeffrey. I hate this dude. Some endings, he's another sexist gooner who does not deserve my sympathy. Or a victim who was neglected and bullied by everyone around him for being unattractive and weird. We go from shit like people who are unpopular get neglected by society, which I agree with, but then he'll say shit like this. It's an interesting paradox. It's an interesting paradox. Women I'm not interested in tell me to be more open with my emotions. They say it's wrong that boys don't express their sadness and vulnerability. But the women who might consider me absolutely hate it. They think I'm a freak when I communicate any notion beside generosity. The world of the living is a game of paddleball. Guess who's the ball? Like, bro, which one is it? Maybe it's because looking at all of these endings together is messing with how I perceive this game. But no, even if I treat these endings as individual timelines, it still confuses the hell out of me. So let's use the most normal ending. The YouTube famous ending. Nicole manipulates someone into jumping off a building and permanently breaking their legs. This makes her extremely popular because everyone starts to see her as boy repellent, and she uses it to start a successful YouTube channel. So what is the message here? Emotionally manipulate people until you become famous, I guess? One of the reasons SBN3 made the game was to punish people for being kind. Again, he believes people who are kind will end up in ruin. But does that mean you have to go to the other end of the spectrum and be legitimately evil? So if I take these endings as an entire package, they contradict themselves. If I take them as individual lessons, I'm getting terrible advice. What is happening? To be fair, if you're getting like advice on how to treat women and people from Class of 09, you're fucked. But anyway, I will acknowledge that some of these are supposed to be jokes, which leads me into my next problem. This is a hole a lot of media written for adults tends to fall into, and it makes me very sad every time I notice it. For whatever reason, writers believe that the only way to appeal to an adult audience is by an ocean of cussing, making fun of legitimately awful tragedies, and making as many edgy jokes as possible. I can almost see how this setting came about in real time. SBN3 saying, "Wouldn't it be funny if all the teachers were pedos? That's edgy," and nobody stopped him. This wouldn't be a major issue if this game didn't randomly try to lecture me about how the pedophilia put into the game is bad, as if that's an amazing revelation. That's like 90% of the jokes in this game. This reminds me of that one time Family Guy did an episode on domestic abuse, and that went about as well as you would expect. The entire episode is the writers attempting to depict the horrors of having an abusive partner while literally making jokes about the exact same thing in the same breath.
What the hell's going on here? Listen here, you bully. For your information, Brenda just agreed to leave you. Like hell she did. Brenda, you tell him?
No, not yet. Everyone, I have wonderful news. Jeff and I are getting married. I'd show you the ring, but it's under the splint. My finger fell down the stairs.
You're getting married?
Yeah, but only 'cause she's pregnant.
Pregnant?
Oh, congratulations! Have you thought of any names yet? Maybe Slappy? Or Bruisey? Or Keep It Down in Izzy?
The two main issues is that the message is being warped by just how tone deaf the writers are being, but also because it's fucking Family Guy? How am I supposed to take this seriously when the show has and still does make jokes about the exact same thing it's trying to take seriously? No, please, take this joke seriously. Ignore the hundreds of jokes we've made about this topic. We're being sincere this time, trust. There's an ending where everyone in the school gets killed in a school shooting. This is still such a serious issue all over the world, but especially in the US. There's been a few times I've seen media discuss this, and the message is usually to take care of one another, not make them feel isolated or push them to a point where they would want to do something so horrific. To this day, it's a divisive topic, and Class of 09 says nothing. It just happens. Suddenly, the thing you've been doing the entire game is now bad. But please, ignore all of the jokes we've made about it, and the fact that there are other endings that also end with awful outcomes. Please take this one seriously though. Please be shocked by this ending and walk away with the message that bullying is bad this one and only time. I am so glad I was taught the consequences of bullying by Class of 09, and I'm also glad that they taught me how to manipulate an at-risk person into doing all of my schoolwork for 3 years. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna throw up. If you take the piss the entire time, and then randomly lock in to give me a PSA, I'm not gonna take you seriously, especially with morals this skewed. I wish I could leave this aspect of the game alone, but I am still not done. After hours of playing the game and getting every ending, you get one final secret ending, and I'm just gonna play this one in full.
Where the fuck were you?
Long story. Well, no, it's actually short. I just don't feel like telling you.
Okay, whatever. Can we go now? All the good graduation parties are gonna be out of Coke if we go too late.
Is there Coke at the bad graduation parties or just the good ones?
What do you think makes them good?
I thought you were a pharma princess. Since when do you want hard shit?
Since we graduated and I don't give a fuck anymore. Doing coke in high school is depressing, but I'm gonna be in college soon. Whose line is it anyway? Mine. I'm Wayne Brady in this bitch, ho.
You wanna be some cokehead bitch in college? Because if you do, I fully support it. You'd be like 10 times hotter.
Oh my god, I know. I wanna like go full out of control and then marry some rich med major who wants to save me. Ultimate goal.
Is that the ceiling for us?
What's the big idea, huh?
I don't know, I only have little ideas.
Yeah, and I got medium ideas.
You ruined the whole graduation ceremony. I was valedictorian and everything. What did anybody do to you anyway? Everybody's always nice to you and calls you pretty, and all you want to do is hurt them.
Well, shoot, if they call me pretty.
And more than that, they give you things, always help you, and then I just see you screw them over. All I see is you being mean for the sake of being mean. It's like a game to you.
You want me to tell you what you don't see?
I've seen enough.
Have you ever seen a man 3 times your age ask you to fuck him?
Like just this week, or...
What? Be serious!
Sorry, how about 60 texts in one night all threatening you if you don't go out with the pizza delivery man who sent them?
How would you let some crazy guy get your number like that in the first place?
I ordered pizza with my cell phone.
I know your pasty white ass wouldn't get what being in demand is like, but it's a tough job, Jeffrey.
And you don't even get paid.
But if you do, you're a whore. Are you getting it, Jeffrey?
So people like you. Boo-hoo.
They don't just like us. They're obsessed with us. Obsession leads to a lot of crazy shit. And you give the wrong bitch enough crazy shit in her life, she just might snap on everybody.
Sounds like a good problem to have. I'd rather be surrounded by craziness instead of still being lonely. You don't know what that feels like. You don't know what life is like wanting a partner and being ignored by everyone. You're spoiled by social attention and you don't even know it.
Is this your manifesto?
Like what?
At least wait till we get to college before you kill us, okay?
I never said I'd do that. What college you guys going to anyway?
What college are we going to?
Could be Maryland.
Or Florida.
Maybe Cal State.
You're gonna have to shoot up every school in the country at this rate.
Oh, every time I try having a regular conversation, you just make it a joke about me. Like I said, socially spoiled.
A little bit.
Can someone be spoiled by not having a daily fight or flight moment?
What? Like I should be you for a day?
You're way too ugly to be her for a day.
Well, she gets too much attention to know how much it hurts to be me for a day.
I guess we'll never know.
This cutscene genuinely sent a chill down my spine. It made me come to a startling realization that this game legitimately has a serious meaning. I'm not gonna lie. Until this very moment, I wasn't actually convinced about half the shit SNB3 said about this game. But this ending kinda made me have to come to terms with the fact that people can literally spell something out and then still fuck it up. I'm not gonna repeat how a game like this stops me from taking anything seriously. I just wanna focus on the fact that this ending tries to make me sympathize with Nicole. Nicole? The person who manipulates every schoolmate into giving them money, doing their homework for 3 years, or game ending. Treats everyone she interacts with like they just yelled out the N-word in a BLM rally. I am supposed to end this game saying, yeah, she has a point. I'm not joking when I say this. That is fucking dangerous. Class of 09. The real depiction of the female experience. And that experience is just being a supervillain. I wonder if there's a growing group of people who would see this game and say, yeah, that's exactly how they are. My hatred of women is totally justified now. I know all of the characters surrounding Nicole are also pretty awful, but this is just another writing problem. If a story needs to bend over backwards to make a character like Nicole look justified, it's badly written. If there was a single character who is just a good person, who got as much screen time as everyone else, I think people would have been a lot more sour towards this game. It would be like someone making a film to bring attention to the Black experience, and did so by having the main character be a walking, talking depiction of the image racists have in their heads about Black people. Completely affirm their bigotry by having the main character be comically evil, and then turn around and say, lads, let's lay off the Okay, I feel like I lost my head a little bit there, so let's just get back to the point for, like 2 seconds. This game was terrible. It took hours to sit through this and even longer to write this script because every time I wrote a word or thought about this game outside of the time playing it, I just wanted to sleep. If sleeping was graded like a Sonic level, I'm getting an E rank. Or at least I would have if I didn't have this Manta sleep mask. Don't ask why it's pink. It is entirely adjustable to make sure no light hits your eyes and is made from a very soft material that honestly feels better than my pillow on most days. It's also very durable. I'm not sure what I'm doing in my sleep, but I have broken a lot of stuff by mistake. This mask has been through it all and still looks as good as the day I got it. I also need constant noise when I'm sleeping, and the mask comes with enclosed speakers. In terms of things I tried to sell you on this channel, I'd say this is a must-have, especially with the days getting longer. It's never been a better time to check out Man to Sleep. I actually, I'm not even kidding, I actually can't see anything. I don't even know if I'm looking at the camera anymore. Unleash your inner Satoru Gojo cosplay by using this sleep mask, link down below. And if you use my code, SleepYourOwners at checkout, you'll get 10% off anything you end up buying on mantosleep.com. I want to give a quick thank you to them for sponsoring this video. So let's get back to, the camera's over there, isn't it? The re-up is what many call the best in the series. The most polished and funniest game, apparently. I won't even build up to my thoughts about this game, it fucking sucks. Class of 09 released in June of 2021. SBN3 said, nothing regarding the game for 2 years until suddenly dropping a second game a few months after the game first blew up on TikTok. I wonder if there might have been a financial incentive that would encourage him to rush out a game that has a third of the content of the first one. Don't worry, he's self-aware about it, so it's fine. The original had 15 endings. The re-up has 7, and somehow the game took me more time to complete? What? That's weird because I was barely playing the game. If you want a visual example of just how stripped down this game feels in comparison to the first, you should look at a Steam guide to all the game's endings. You could make 10 choices per route in the first game. The second caps at 4, when you would assume it would be the other way around, right? I mean, how does a game get longer and have less content? Spoilers, it's yapping! The re-up is horribly paced. If you aren't mindlessly skipping dialogue and dare to pay attention to this game, you're making a choice every 20 minutes at best, while having to deal with so much filler dialogue. There's also just less routes to take the story, even in minor ways. Nicole makes her mom have a heart attack in one route. Sorry, did I say route? No. This just happens. It has no bearing on any of the other endings, and it isn't even addressed outside of one cutscene. I'm really feeling the impact of my actions when you forget to bring them up. I'm pretty confident that I would have gotten a full breakdown in the first game. Maybe it would have sent things into a much more interesting direction, but SBN3 really wanted to get this out as quickly as possible and make it just long enough so you couldn't refund it on Steam, so it's dropped. Begrudgingly, I have to admit that the game is iconic because of its characters. SBN3 was very eager to mention that he fleshed out side characters and gave them more lines of dialogue, but also made them more flanderized. Nicole went from a bad person at best and the Antichrist at worst to insert most evil politician in the current year here. Okay. Jekka is the same, but will now randomly spew some morals at Nicole at the very end of her routes. This stops happening in the latter half of the game. I don't know. Oh, and there's new characters. Yeah, they're just given a trait like having an eating disorder and being suicidal. The game makes fun of them relentlessly and then might have a moral at the end about how that's bad. But there's nothing you can do about it, because that's good game design. I can appreciate the first game's attempt to have a good message in the end. Of course, I went into detail on how I think it missed the mark violently, but there was something. The re-up feels like SBN3 had absolutely no clue what the good aspect of his game was.
It's funny when a girl tells her story, only to be told back that it's unrealistic. Almost as if they're afraid to believe it's real.
But last year, that combination left me at the worst, most predatory school imaginable. At least I thought it was the worst school. But then I talked to other people and it turns out it wasn't that bad. Well, no, it was that bad. It was just really standard. Other girls saying their gym teacher wanted to bang them. Their counselor texting them at 3 in the morning. I was the only one with a white nationalist photography teacher though, so I guess that's something. But here's the problem. Mom won't listen, the principal doesn't care, and I still have all of senior year to get through.
You know, I've never met the guy, but off of stuff like this alone, I can kind of tell just how insecure he is about this game. To instantly use your newfound success to make fun of the people who were kind of right about your game clues me in on just how much of these critiques really got to you. For all of the shit I gave the first game, I can say with full certainty that it was at least confident in itself. The humor also takes a massive step down. I think a lot of memorable jokes come from two responses, the "that's so true" or relatable response and the shocked one. I believe a shocking joke is only as funny as the subtle setup to get to that point. SBN3 thought the real funnies in his game was just references to things popular in the late 2000s and more low-effort teacher humor. This dude is still a pedophile. These dudes are all still incels, and you realize these are all the same jokes from the first game, but don't have the novelty of being new. Remember the racist teacher from the first game? Yeah, he's gone. He got replaced with a racist teacher with blonde hair and blue eyes. Do you get the joke? Nicole being turned into white women's King Von makes her do insane shit all the White women's King Von, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, manipulate a guy into cheating on his girlfriend and sending nudes so Nicole can send it to everyone in school. The reason she did any of this, by the way, is because a student was kinda mean to her in drama class. Relatable character, by the way. SBN3 said that this game has humor similar to South Park, and this genuinely makes me think South Park fans don't understand why the thing they like is funny. When Cartman does evil shit, it's funny because a fourth grader is doing it. It's this thing called juxtaposition. Nicole is supposed to be realistic, so using juxtaposition to create an unrealistic scenario isn't funny. It's jarring. Being like South Park and being realistic are directly at odds with each other. But SBN3 doesn't realize this because he clearly does not understand why South Park is funny. I'm not even trying to be mean here, but he also does the same thing many South Park fans do, which is seeing the kids swearing and assume the vulgarness is the funny part, and not the fact that a 9-year-old is doing it. A grown adult doing their taxes is normal. Swap that out with a kid and you're at least gonna have your audience question why a child is doing taxes. It's more engaging, but they don't get that and think mean equal funny. There's an ending where Nicole just abuses her partner for no reason, or the one where she goes to jail for selling drugs produced by some gang that was probably topical at the time. I'm not looking it up, I literally don't care. I am so glad to be graced with the high IQ humor of SBN3 and his two jokes, pedophilia and racism. Oh, right, and anti-SJW stuff. This route gets its own section because it's genuinely so funny, but for none of the intended reasons. So in this route, Nicole rejects a character who just came out as gay to her. This character then starts spreading the rumor that Nicole is a bigot, and the entire school just goes along with it.
Another movie was...
Oh, look who it is.
It's the school bigot.
What?
Don't play dumb. We heard what you said.
And we heard what you did to Ari.
You'll really reject a gay girl, then have the nerve to say no one's homophobic here?
Oh, so now our conversations are worth broadcasting?
I only mentioned it to one person. I didn't think it'd be a thing.
Ari told people too. You're sick, Nicole.
Pretending there isn't bigotry here. It must be nice to ignore it.
What, are you gay?
No.
Then fuck off.
You don't need to be gay to fight homophobia.
I never said she can't be gay. I said no one here would hate her for being gay.
Indifference is as bad as participation.
What the fuck did that have to do with what I just said? Do you just have a list of sayings memorized?
Actually, we have a list of 500 signatures. 500 signatures in favor of expelling you for gay bashing Ari.
I have questions? Concerns. I have concerns. This series was supposed to depict realistic things, right? Why is there a route that feels like it was dreamt up by a homophobic farmer? What gay person said something mean about your game, SBN3? And why do I have to hear about it? The only consistent thing with this game is that every marginalized group is treated poorly one way or another. You've got the treatment of the only gay character in the game, the balancing act between incel shit and parody this game is always doing, and the black... Why aren't there any black people in these games? Guess it didn't exist in the realistic depiction of 2008 that this game is set in. Anyhow, after the woke cancelled Nicole, the straight pride club tries to recruit her, which fails, and then they burn down the gay character's entire house. But because Nicole is scared of being cancelled, she is forced to date that character until the end of high school. I want to let that sit with you for a few seconds. Step 1, have a gay character. Step 2, have a gay character manipulate someone into a relationship with them. Step 3, funny? I don't know anymore, I just want to get this done. I'd repeat my whole "this shit is dangerous" paragraph again, but I know what the people watching my channel are already. Maybe I'm too woke, but I legit do not see how this is funny. If you want a good example of how to up the ante and have it be funny, Look at regular show. Mordecai and Rigby want to go to a concert, but they don't have the money. Therefore, they need to work overtime. However, they are overworking themselves and begin to drink coffee to make up for that. But then they run out and have to make a deal with a living coffee bean. Real episode, by the way. They are able to get the money for the tickets, but the coffee bean and his associate betrays the duo and steals their tickets. They fight to go after them, but since they no longer have a coffee supply, they pass out the moment the concert starts. That is a stimulating plot. Here is me describing the latest Class of 09 ending. Nicole uses depression as an excuse to get out of class. While ditching class, she runs into Ari, who is also skipping. Nicole teaches Ari how to skip with the depression excuse, and then they both end up in therapy. Ari tells the girl that she is gay, and then Nicole rejects her. The next day, everyone calls Nicole a homophobe, and then Nicole is invited to the straight club. And then, after they hear what happened, attempt to burn down Ari's house. And then, after they succeed, Nicole has to pretend to date Ari so she isn't blamed for the hate crime. This shit put me to sleep. This is not how you should ever write a story. If a plot can be explained using the words "and then" more than once, it's probably a bad story. And you want to know where I heard this advice from? The creators of South Park.
Each individual scene has to work as a kind of funny sketch. You don't want one scene that's just like, well, what was the point of that scene? We've found out this really simple rule that maybe you guys have all heard before, but it took us a long time to learn it. But we can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed.
It just seemed like he took a bunch of surface level aspects from the media he enjoyed and then thought that was the same thing, or better. I've kind of taken a bit of a detour to focus on the creator and not his creation, but I genuinely think laying out his opinions of his game and media as a whole will make it easier in the future to explain why the next game is... We're getting ahead of ourselves. I believe the success of the first game and SPN3's inability to understand the media he likes is a scary combination, because a bunch of people hyping up his game caused him to think about why people like something. And if the South Park comparison was anything to go by, whatever he says is the reason for his game's success needs to be scrutinized. I am sorry. Here he says that back when he made Class of 09, indie arts, like the whole thing, was destroyed by YouTube, and how video games were the only genre where people were fine spending money on. And also, he saw Class of 09 as a way to take his skill and adapt his talents into something that would make someone click add to cart for $9.99. All of the same integrity, work ethic, humor, all of the same everything translated from what he was doing on YouTube with short films into a game. In the year of 2019, someone said the indie arts were dead. What? This is so wrong it actually physically hurts. YouTube is unironically the best thing to ever happen to any indie art, actually. Without YouTube, some of the biggest indie anythings wouldn't exist. Like the multiple cartoons, games, and movies that got their starts from YouTube. Most of these projects both get YouTube revenue and crazy fan backings on sites like Patreon. The only way you could think like this is if you have been living under a rock or are willfully ignorant to everything going on around you. Again, I am not trying to be mean, but I kind of get the vibe that this was him projecting his own bad luck onto the genre. That just doesn't really back up what he's saying. It feels like he isn't really able to understand why these projects he's made in the past failed to pick up steam. Also, integrity, work ethic, and humor. Okay, let's ignore the fact that he said he made this game for money. His second game has less content and pads the runtime so you can't refund it. And the average joke in this game is, oh wow, this guy is such a pedophile and or racist, to the power of 12. This is not highbrow humor. Later on in the interview I've been using this whole video, he says that his game is South Park with a more informed social lens. I don't think South Park is the be-all end-all of all social commentary throughout cartoons. Actually, I wouldn't even say it's all that good most of the time. But compared to the nightmare that was the first game alone, this is like Peter Dinklage telling Michael Jordan that he's a better basketball player. Like, seriously, how blind are you? The sad thing is, the interview really does highlight how full of himself SPN3 already was. His frequent comparisons to better media, his belief that a problem only he seemed to have at the time was affecting everyone, and how he never listens to criticism, and always takes shots at anyone who says anything negative about his projects. After a decade on YouTube, he had a project do well and get popular. and now genuinely believes he is a once-in-a-generation talent. He changed his game studio to the king of new media. You just made a visual novel, dude. I'm sorry. To me, this reads as a person saying, I do not need to change. The problem wasn't me, but everyone else. And this is a recipe for disaster and a perfect entry into the final part of this video. My theory that SBN3 had no idea what made his game so popular is solidified with the third and, hopefully, final entry in the Class of 09 series. Because by this point, the games stopped being comedies and just become torture simulators. The flip side has us peek into the life of Jekka this time around. Someone who has just kind of been around in the previous CO9 entries. I guess the point of the game was to show us how things were from someone who actually needs to face consequences, which definitely does not contradict the point made in the first game, but I will play along. The first ending I got was the foot model ending. I feel like I need a shower after just saying that, but this one has Jekka get involved with sex work when Jeffrey, he's voiced by the creator, just want to make that clear, pays her $200 to step on his face in a Starbucks bathroom. For some reason, the game cuts to this much higher quality R, and now I have some questions. Number one, if the game can actually look good, why does everything else still look so shit? The first one gets away with it because it had no budget. I thought it looked shitty on purpose. But if we're gonna have moments where the game looks good, then you can't really have the UI, characters, and backgrounds stay at the same low quality. It's just not consistent. Also, there is a moment in another route where Jekka is on a drawn background. I feel visual consistency for stuff like this is important, no? You would think someone as talented as this guy would know that, but I guess not. And number two, why does this scene take so long? It's like 5 minutes of this. Like, why? And there's multiple of these too. There's variations on these. I'm not being funny. The foot scenes are easily the highest quality part of this game visually. That and two women kissing for absolutely no reason. I wonder if there's a reason the art only looks good in the scenes where characters voiced by SNB3 are getting stepped on by two women, or when two women are kissing. I wonder if there is an ulterior motive in doing so. Who's to say, really? Anyway, this route ends with Nicole fucking Jekka's recently divorced dad for money. Wait, what? Why? What are we doing? Okay, let's look at this route as a joke for a second. If it's a joke, the joke is the characters doing sex work and dealing with pathetic people who are voiced by the creator of the game. I just, again, have to make that known. If I take this seriously, then why substitute actually discussing young people being forced into sex work with the author's thinly disguised fetish, and then give yourself, Jeffrey, a very long scene with him gooning to that person. Multiple long scenes of him gooning to multiple people, actually. You did this in the second game, and a lot more sincerely. That was taken seriously and pretty down to earth. In the flipside version, Jekka is treated like shit by everyone, and just to make things even worse, her dad fucks her best friend at the end. I cannot describe in a small paragraph how bad this kind of writing is. The idea that making a character suffer as much as possible is fine because of realism, or that being the point, when it doesn't make me feel bad for them. I groan at this lame attempt to shock me with a character's life getting unreasonably worse. There are so many examples available to look at on how to properly write tragedy, but SBN3 over here probably thought he'd nail it because of his god-given talent for making video games. Oh, mixed reviews on Steam, how'd that happen? I don't want to spend too much time talking about this game because you've no doubt heard about some of these endings. There's an ending where a pedo sends Jekka into a stash of CP just as the FBI break in. But surprise, they are also pedos and put Jekka into slavery. I was so spoiled by this ending because we saw SBN3's only 2 jokes, all in one route. Wow, your unique comedy really shone through with 2 of the most obvious jokes known to man, holy shit. I'd say he probably finds Minecraft dream jokes funny, but I'm convinced that's a little too high IQ for him at this point. Skipping the rest of the endings because you're also sick of hearing about them, I know, we get this final bit of footage from SBN3, and it's more of this fake deep bullshit.
I just wanted to ask you something. If God isn't watching, who is? You've wanted to know, haven't you? The answer might leave you hollow. Every atrocity, every mishap, every justice you pretend to care about, but you don't. We merely want attention for all we can't control. If you controlled it all, would you want people to know? Gods were not imagined to heap praise, but to deflect blame. Who made all those choices resulting in death, destruction, addiction, and despair?
Fuck off. Genuinely, everything this guy does is such a half-baked version of a better idea made by people with infinitely more skill than him. The man simply cannot cope with the fact that his game might just suck. So randomly inserted this moral grandstanding bullshit about how I'm in the wrong for playing his game. It is so funny because this video alone proves just how much of a hack this man is. I've held off from talking about Undertale this entire time just for this moment. That game also has a moment where the player is berated for the choices they made. However, in a good game, you'll get the option to not do the bad thing. The reason Undertale's No Mercy route ending hit so hard is because you had multiple other options. You could have saved literally everyone and chose not to. The flip side railroads you onto two paths where you can either make Jekka's life 99 times worse or 100 times worse. Ironically enough, there is no flip side. Ha 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 ha. I'm so funny, aren't I? You see, like, I can make a bad joke as well and just like admit that, and I'd be fine with it, you know? Maybe you should learn that. No matter what you pick, every ending ends poorly for Jekka. It's the illusion of free choice. But SBN3 is such a terrible writer that this very basic concept escaped him. If SBN's 3 way of writing was an Undertale, you'd be put on a No Mercy run. You'd have the ability to make irrelevant choices like the way you kill a monster or something. And then at the end, he'd come out of the shitty TRT dimension to tell you you're a bad person for killing those people. Despite these very obvious differences, he thinks this is the same thing, and that is just embarrassing. I love when my options for a character is them game ending or being sold into slavery. Those aren't choices. Those are ultimatums. Maybe the real person who should be analyzed is the guy who forced me to pick between those two options and nothing else. Ah, yes, you're the one who picked those options. Ignore the fact that I programmed it to be that way. Like, he would have a point if just one ending was good for Jekka, but they're all fucking evil. He ends the game with a built-in twitlonger where he uses common points against his game as one final chance to make a pedo joke, which is funny for so many reasons. He's still relying on the same jokes, but more importantly tries to get ahead of his critics before the game has even come out. Do you know how little your dick has to be to do that? And for the record, I don't see this as a joke, mainly because he tries to respond to criticism of him having no idea why the first game was liked by trying to explain why the game was liked and being wrong. He said the game was good because it linked together multiple generations of people, and then said, this just happens when you aren't afraid to exit your comfort zone and explore other circles, other cultures, and most importantly, other levels of hardships. You made 3 games where the punchline is they are a pedophile. You are not the first person to make this joke just because you made it the most. It's not this internet cultural hot pot because it has a deep message about different levels of hardships. There aren't there aren't even black people in the game. Everyone is white in this game. Where is the multiple cultures? They're all white suburban Americans. What are you talking about? You made this game, you made these characters, and you wrote this. I don't understand you. I truly don't. The reason the game is a cultural hot pot is because one side think these are funny, edgy jokes, while others think you're being deadly serious about your opinions on women, gay people, and basically just any marginalized group. And the fact that you don't see that really shows that SBN3 truly has no idea why his game attracted the audience it did. It shows because he alienated both sides after this. There is something so poetic about someone bragging about their impact on the culture right before dropping a game that none of his fans from any branch of life seem to like. He then goes on about how his game does what mainstream media can't, and how he's the greatest writer to ever do it, and made such an intellectually stimulating game or something. I'm not reading this. The twitlonger confirms the thesis of this video, you know? The fact that this game was never good. The game gained a young audience of teens who thought the game was funny. They then watched YouTube videos playing the second game, or watched CO9 out of context and thought it was hilarious, and then played the third game and realized the creator was just kinda weird. The creator, however, saw the success of this game and thought he was a god. The king of new media, the man who appealed to both age spectrums on the internet and thought he didn't need to change. That he could simply do no wrong by hiding behind the shield of, I'm just depicting the real world, bro. This entire time, he never realized why people liked his game. It was funny when it was taken out of context. That was it. The fake legacy here is the idea that the third game was ever this drop in quality when it really wasn't. Not even just rewinding to the first game, looking back on dozens of his videos from over a decade ago, and you can see that this man has not improved his writing ability in any way whatsoever.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Oh man! Woo! Robert. LOL. Do you guys have Fuji water?
You mean Fiji water?
Oh. Yes.
What the fuck were you people thinking?
Sir, we checked the stat and white humor's gone up 60% this year.
Oh yeah? Well, guess what's going down? Your salary!
No, I got a wife and Sriracha to pay for!
Fuck you and your hips that ketchup! If there isn't a new idea on the network by next week, you're out, Buddy Bo!
This was the worst idea ever, and they won't stop protesting. Think! Oh shoot, where's the paper towels? Huh? I got it!
This is how we do it! What's up, my
This was your big idea!
Yeah, what do you think?
The joke of this video is that Jesus is a stereotypical white guy, and the creator hates that. So then he makes him a white guy doing blackface, and he says the Eminem was more creative. Like, there are people who were alive during this era who were able to do this whole like pushing the boundary and being edgy while having a point. But this genius, once in a generation king of new media, God King, I'm gonna glaze him, you know, because he's so incredible, thought it was funny then, and clearly thinks it's funny now because his humor hasn't changed at all. He just made the same thing for 10 years and got very lucky in 2023, and it had made a career for him until people rightfully got sick of it. This man is no god, no king of new media. He isn't even terrible enough to be all that interesting. He's just another guy on the internet who thought he was greater than he actually was because people on a screen said they liked something he made. Ironically enough, there are countless guys exactly like SBN3. He is just not special. Class of 09, the re-flips upside is not a good series of games. They spam the two same jokes over and over again, do the funny XD random humor all the time, fail to handle any serious topic with respect, and worst of all, doesn't even know what it's doing. It's a game trying to imitate what other pieces of media have done so much better, while having the sole developer believe that he knows what made those other bits of media work, while only taking the surface level elements to try and deliver a consistent moral, and also have no meaning all at the same time. This is the definition of being aimless. I don't think there's a larger lesson to be learned from a person like SBN3. He really isn't as interesting as he thinks he is. So I will leave you all with this. Please don't do this, because then some asshole on the internet is gonna make a YouTube video about it and somehow it's gonna be 40 fucking minutes. This was supposed to be a quick adventure. In and out, 20 minutes tops I thought. Oh my God. Maybe I'm the fool for playing all of these games. Do you know who aren't fools though? My Patreons. More specifically, Chromatic Aberrant, Much Appreciated, Obscuroni, and Post Fanatic or Israfel's Fire. That's me done for now. I should have something coming out in a couple of weeks. For real this time, I promise I'm not gonna disappear for a month. Believe me this time, I'm serious, you know, consistent Border Oranges is on the way. I don't really know what else to say other than that, really. See you, lads.